you all so much for not only being with us today during our Schoolnet Data Dive, but being with us today on the week of Thanksgiving. I appreciate your dedication to this and hope that this is really something that you are going to gain a lot of information from to help you with data analysis in Schoolnet. So thank you so much for taking time out of your afternoon to be with us. And for anyone that might have to drop and not stay the full hour, we completely understand, and just know that it is going to be recorded. So you will have access to this. It'll be posted in your splash page within the next few days, definitely after Thanksgiving break. It'll be located on your splash page. But let's go ahead and get started. Catherine, thank you for dropping that in the chat. I appreciate it. Okay, let's see here. There we go. All right, so first off, in case this is your first webinar with us, my name is Rebecca Stokes. I am the product manager for Schoolnet for NCDPI, and my email address is located right there on the screen. It's always going to be on slide 2 because we always want you to know that you can reach out to us at any time. And we are always so fortunate to have the wonderful Catherine Simone here with us from Pearson. Catherine, if you want to introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. Catherine Simone here this afternoon. Welcome, and hope this is useful to all of you.
Yes, perfect. And she is the implementation manager for Pearson. We have a great partnership with Pearson. They are always so willing to help us out. And Catherine is always so wonderful in being on these webinars with us. And she goes to the home-based meetups, or now called digital learning exchanges or leaders exchange. I can never remember which one. So she's just a great partner that we have here with us. And her email address is there as well. So anytime that you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. All right, just a few housekeeping things that we always go over. So you can get CEU credit for attending this live webinar. If you stay the entire hour, you can receive zero 0.1 CEUs, which is equal to 1 hour of credit. And just remember that 10 hours is what equals 1 full credit for CEU for participating in the live session of the webinars. I cannot designate the type of CEU it is. That is up to your PSU to determine what type of credit it is. So when you get the CEU certificate, it just says what the training was, but it will not say whether it's general or DLC or anything like that, because that will be up to your PSU to determine. So when you get that CEU certificate, you'll just follow your PSU's guidelines for submitting CEUs for credit, okay? And how will you receive credit? So if you are logged into this live webinar with us, then at the end of the session, I will post a link for you to fill out a survey for us for feedback that includes a question asking if you would like to be emailed a CEU certificate. If you are watching this webinar as a recording, then unfortunately you cannot get CEUs for watching a recorded session, only for those that are in the live webinar with us. So, but we will post that recording for anybody to be able to see, just for gaining that knowledge, okay? All right, a few other things just about WebEx. So you are not able to unmute within WebEx, so we do encourage you to please use the chat. Catherine and I both check it at all times. So if I am leading, Catherine is checking it. If Catherine's leading, then I'm checking it. So we do encourage you to put any questions that you have in the chat, because it might be something that someone else is curious about as well. And if you are anything like me, if you think of a question after the webinar, then please refer to slide 2 of this slide deck and use our email addresses, and feel free to ask any questions that you may have. We are happy to help. All right, so thank you.
Just jumping in real quick, Rebecca, because as you were talking, we probably got another 8 participants. So please note, if you joined us after, the bit.ly is being added to the chat.
Perfect, thank you. And with it being November, we just want to say we are thankful for all of you. We are thankful for the work that you are doing in your classrooms and with our teachers, if you are an instructional role, or with our students, if you are a classroom teacher. We thank you. We understand. We are both former educators as well. So we know the hard work that you are doing, and we just appreciate you taking time out of your busy, busy day and busy week for being here with us. All right, so our agenda for today, since this is a data dive, we're going to talk about student profile data you have access to, the power of the homepage, and the data that you have located just within your homepage of Schoolnet. We're going to talk about some pre-formatted reports that we have for you, and then we're going to talk about the reporting dashboard, accessing things like your prior year data, your comparison reports, your subgroup data, and then we're going to talk about some upcoming events that we have going on. All right, and please know that Catherine and I usually hop right into the training site. So we are more than likely not going to be on this slide deck too often, but everything that we are talking about from this slide deck, we will be showing in the training site. So please know that you can keep this as a resource, okay? So first thing we're going to talk about is student profile data, and we're going to concentrate on the things that have these red boxes around them. We've talked about the other tabs in some of our other webinars, but since we are just talking about data today, we're going to be concentrating on the standardized testing tab, the enrollment academic record, and then the benchmark and classroom tests, as well as ways for you to export. So Catherine, do you by any chance have the training
I
site
do.
already up? Okay,
I do,
so
and I am
I'm gonna
logged in as
stop
a
sharing.
grade 4 teacher. So let
Awesome.
me
Okay.
share my screen. And do I need to request?
You know, WebEx is always fun.
Because it's
let's.
saying you need to stop sharing before I can
Okay.
share.
Well, you know that sounds about right. So let's see. Let me hit stop and see what happens.
Okay, let's see if it'll
If
let me do
this
it
is your
now.
first webinar with Catherine and I, we are nothing but transparent. So we
Oh,
hope you enjoy.
we're like watching a comedy show.
Yes,
It's a
enjoy being with us.
lot of fun.
We keep it real over here. That's for sure.
Okay, so you should be able to see my training site.
We can. Perfect.
Oh,
Thank you.
yes, yay. First try. Okay, folks. So, I'm logged in, as I said, as a fourth grade teacher, and I'm going to show you my cheat for the quickest way to get to my class list. So right here on my home screen, don't need to go anyplace else. I'm going to choose one of my sections. I like math, so I'm just going to pick this math class here. Then I can go to reports, and we'll see test results, and we'll talk about that in a minute, but I can go right here to student reports. And this is going to give me my class list. So this is the very first piece of data you're going to see. Now, because we're in the training site, just a reminder, if those of you are not familiar with it, it's a bunch of scrambled data. So there are no, it says student 10686, whoever that combination of students may have been. But right here, I get my list. I can export it, birthdays, phone numbers, etc. But we said we'd go to the student profile. So all I need to do is click on this student. Notice it opens in a new tab. I can still get back to my class list right here. Okay. So in my student profile, this is what we call
The profile is not sharing. We're still on the student list,
Oh,
just to let you know.
sure, because it's WebEx. Let's
Yes.
just have fun with this today. Yeah. Okay. Nope, that's not it either. Come on, WebEx, you can do this. We're going to do Teams next year, right?
Correct.
Sorry. I told you it would be fun, folks. Let's do this screen. No, so if I do application, it'll share the whole thing, right?
It should.
Okay, let's try that. No, just a window. Seriously? I'm so sorry, folks. Give me a second here. It is not letting me share. Get back to that. Try it again. Okay, I think I see it now. Are you still seeing my training site now?
We are seeing your training site, and it is on the homepage. It just says, "Welcome back, teacher."
Okay, let me try it again. And just go back to my student reports.
There we go. Now we can see.
Thank you. All right, that was my bad. I forgot to share the window, only shared the screen. So, okay, student profile. The overview page gives you all the students' demographic information, their schedule, etc., grades as each marking period closes. We pointed out that you would, I think we highlighted the standardized test tab, the benchmark tab, the classroom tab. So let me go here to the standardized test. And while this is old scrambled data, what I do want to point out is if you are in your production site right now and you go to a particular student, you will see, depending on their grade level, EOC and EOG scores from 23, 22, 21. There were no scores from 20 due to COVID, and then 19, 18. Did I get that right, Rebecca? Let me try that.
I believe so. Yeah, if you click on show filters, that's where you'll see the years that we have located in there for you.
Yep. So you can change the filters here. You're going to see the students' past imported standardized test scores here. And that's the first piece of data you can pick up. The second.
Can I say something really quick, Catherine? Can I interrupt you? Just want to let you know, depending on the student's grade level, if they're in upper grades and they had data from the 2018-19 school year or prior, you will see Dibbles data. You will no longer see Dibbles data, and I know that it's not even called that anymore because it is now housed within Amplify, and that is not a data source that we are allowed to pull from at this point in time. So you will no longer see what used to be Dibbles and is now in Amplify. That will not be in here. It is just going to be EOGs and EOCs. And Melissa, you do not have to opt in to have the student's EOGs data show. It is pulling from PowerSchool. So as long as the student was enrolled in the PSU during that testing year, they should have EOG and EOC data showing. But of course, if you see something different, please let us know. Okay.
Yep. Okay. I think the next tab I highlighted was the enrollment and academic record. I just wanted to point this out because this gives you a snapshot historically of each student, their schools. You can see their past school years and past grades on this tab. Okay. On the benchmark tests, here again, you can choose the filter of years. Okay. And you're going to see all benchmark level tests. That means any tests that were scheduled at the school or district level for this student. You will see if you leave it on the test, you'll see the test name, date, timestamp, score, and score group. They're grouped by subject. So you see ELA here, and then the sciences, and then math. Okay. But you can also change it from the test view to the standards view. So this will group, it'll collectively pull all of the students' data for a particular standard set. So depending on how the test questions were aligned, it looks like ELA just has overall reading and language. But the math, you can see here, we have the specific domains and practices, and then fourth grade fraction here, and same with science. So this is one view of the benchmark test. You can also decide if you want to just look at district level tests, school tests, or if your particular PSU has administered any of the state tests. The classroom tab, sorry, I picked a student without any classroom tests, but it would look the same as the benchmark level test. The only difference is that the classroom tests would be strictly tests that teachers had created and scheduled. Okay. The final thing on this page that I wanted to point out is this Create PDF. I think this is a great feature. When I click on this, it produces a wizard that basically I can choose by clicking the boxes and whatever parameters I want to set for the report. But let's just say I have parent-teacher conferences coming up. I can choose and create a report of every piece of data that is in Schoolnet for this child, and then check which boxes I want, create the PDF, download it, and now I have a printable version to go home to parents or for any other meeting you may be attending. I see we have a couple questions. Do you know whether it pulls NC check-ins data for benchmarks? Rebecca, I'm going to let you take that one.
Yeah, so I did answer in the chat, but for anyone who is not looking at the chat, someone did ask if we could pull NC check-in data into Schoolnet, and the answer is no. You used to be able to import it, but that is no longer allowed. And we are not allowed to pull in any of that data. So unfortunately, no, that is not a decision that was made by us, but by testing and accountability for I think security reasons. So no, unfortunately, you cannot pull in check-in data.
Yes. Okay. I'm just going to go back to the PowerPoint real quick because I just want to make sure that I couldn't show you a screenshot of this in the training site, but I wanted to make sure you saw this in the at least a picture of it. The standardized tests that we were referring to, the end of course, and you can see how this particular example student took biology, English 2, and math 1, end of course. It gives you the year, the year of testing, the score group level, the scaled score, and the achievement level. So I just wanted to make sure that you got a quick look at that one. Okay. Any other questions on the student profile before we go to the power of the homepage?
Okay. And I just want to say, Madison, I directly messaged you, so just look in the chat for that.
Okay. So on your homepage, I kind of did a quick drive-by of this, but I want to make sure as a teacher, go back to this slide for a minute. You have a couple of widgets on your home screen. Besides the Choose a Section, okay, that I use to find a student, if you scroll down a little bit, you have the Classroom Assessment Monitor, okay? And this is a quick glance at most recent data. So I have already selected this teacher's math grade 4 class, and I can see right from this widget all the latest district and local tests that this class has taken. So right now it's defaulted to math because that's what I chose above. And I can see I had 19 students that tested. The average score was 82%. I can see how my section scored this was a district level test in comparison to the school scores and the district level scores. Okay, so that's a quick glance at my particular class in comparison on this test. From here, before I jump off of this screen, I'm going to scroll down, and right below it, my classroom profile, I can see my students and the last 3 tests they took. I can filter by district level benchmarks if I want. Okay, well, or school level assessments. So I can see each child's last 3 school level assessments. Um, I can look at it by groups if I've created them. I can show their most recent grades, or I can click back to my roster. Okay. Up here, back to this test, you have these quick links here. And I just want to say that these same links are also available over here on the left under the reporting dashboard. But for teachers, it's kind of easy to just go to your classroom assessment monitor. You can click the drop down, pick which test you want to look at. And then from there, I can click on test summary. And now I'm looking at the details for this particular Pulse Check Week 30 test. Okay. So my overall statistics, the percentage of students in each score group, the number of students in each score group, the score range. I can scroll down, and from there, I can see each student's timestamp, the average score, whether they were proficient, and what score group range they fell into. If I go back up to the top, from the test summary, I have several tabs that produce different reports. I can do a standards analysis report. This particular test was on fractions. And I can see how my students performed. If the test had been aligned to more than one, it would produce a graph here. So I would see more than one. All aligned. The student analysis report shows me my students, their scores in what's basically a spreadsheet type of view. Okay. But what it also gives me is gives me the student's name, their ID, their race reporting category, their correct percentage, raw score, or score group, if that's helpful. Okay. The item analysis is one of my favorite reports. So this particular one, when it loads, goes through each question on this test. It shows me the standard, how my students did overall as a percentage score, how each student did on each question. It has sort features because it's similar to a spreadsheet where it lets me sort the questions by highest performing, lowest performing, lowest performing standard, put the students in order from, of course, because got my camera on and just having fun with so much stuff here. Give it a minute. If not, I will click to another one. Let me close a window here because I don't need that one, or close this one. And let's see if it helps me out. Nope. Okay. You know what? I'm going to see if I can jump ship on this one.
It does this to me every time that I'm presenting too.
I know. When I'm not on camera, I'm fine. Did I have any questions that I could answer while that is?
I've tried to kind of answer them as they go. One person did ask how they could use their data to create formative assessments based on standards. So I
I
think
think
with
this
you
one might.
talking about
Yep.
yeah, standard analysis and item analysis. And there is, if you look at the slide deck on slide 14, there's a much better picture of the standard analysis, just because the test we have here was just one standard. So it wasn't as good as when you have multiple standards. So if you look at slide 14 on the slide deck, you can see how you can sort by standard to really get those small groups of students to be able to do a reteach, concentrating on specific standards, and then reassess whether it be on one particular standard or on multiple ones.
Let me see if I can pick a different test, because there's a couple reports that will produce if there's a couple cool reports, and let me see if I can force one out with a different test. This one. Let's try this one. Some of them I'm familiar with. I've used them already. So let's see if this one will give me a couple different standards. Oh, picked the wrong one. Sorry. There you go. Okay. So this particular report, on a different test, you can see there's multiple standards aligned to this test. I can see how each student did. What this allows me to do, let's say I'm focusing on RL 4.1. I can now sort the kids by clicking this arrow, high to low, low to high. All column spreadsheets do that within Schoolnet. So if you see a little arrow or it's blue, don't be afraid to click on it. And then you can see the students in either increasing or decreasing performance. But what I like is, I know I didn't finish the item analysis, but I'm going to jump from the standard analysis to the standards mastery report. Because let's just say I want to revisit this 4.1, okay? Here, I look at the 4.1 standard. If I click on a number, it groups my students for me. So now I see for this particular test, I had 2 students that were definitely proficient. And then I have 2 distinct groups that were not proficient on this standard. One that performed a lot lower and one a little bit higher. So now for instruction, I automatically have my students grouped, and I can go and decide what instruction I'm going to provide. Now, I'm going to go out on a limb here. I haven't tried this in a while, but you should be able to, in this 4.1, if I go to related materials, if I cross my fingers, it should take me to go, no, of course not, because I want it to. It should take me to the go open, which I'll show you that. Let me just duplicate my screen real quick. You can jump to instructional materials here if you haven't used them and you're looking for instructional materials, and you hit go. You have go open NC, and I'm in the training site, which is why it's not working. That's why. Forgot I'm not in prod. In prod, you have, in the live site, you have go open NC materials that would link to the report. Okay. But this standards mastery report is one that I like for grouping my students. Back to the item analysis. This one, if you think that students misinterpreted a question or had difficulty with a particular question, this report is a good way to look at that, because you can say, okay, I have a class of 20, and out of my 20 students, 18 didn't get question 2 right. So was it something in the instruction? Was it something in the question? Is it looking at it, maybe revisiting that question with the students to see what you can do better? Of course, because I picked a different test, I have to wait for this to load again. So let me jump back, and I'm going to use the PowerPoint slide because I did that one, that one, that one. Okay, so in the item analysis, what happens is you have your students here on the left. You have item numbers across the top. It shows you the section score, the standard, and then how each student scored. What I also like is that when you were scheduling, or when someone was scheduling the test, if they chose the box that said track and display student test times, you're going to see these little numbers down here, 5 minutes and 17 seconds. or 22 seconds. Well, the child spent the question they spent 5 minutes on, they got correct. The question they spent 22 seconds on, oh, lo and behold, they got incorrect. So did that have something to do with my class getting question 2 wrong because nobody read it or they didn't spend enough time on it? So the item analysis gives you a lot of different, features. Now that track and display times was not enabled in this one, but one other feature I want to show you is in this report that I like. Here, I've sorted by item numbers, so the items go in order, but my favorite way to sort them is by the standard performance. When I do that, it puts the lowest performing standards first. So if I'm focusing for instruction, okay, 4.4 and 4.1, and then 4.3 were my lowest performing standards. So that automatically clues me in that that's where I need to start my instruction. Okay. I did the standards mastery. There is a trends report, but there's a little bit, that's an older report. And if I go to the reporting dashboard and I show you a comparison report, you can do the same thing in the comparison report that you can do in the trends report. So let me back up here and take you to your home page. And from your home page, you're going to go to your reporting dashboard. And in the reporting dashboard, remember, I'm still this 4th grade teacher. I'm focusing in on language arts right now. You see the little check boxes here. I can click as many tests as I like. I'm choosing all district tests just because they have more student results. And at the bottom here, I can hit compare. On the next screen, I get the choice of saying, well, do I want to see average score? Nah, I'll skip that. Do I want to see the score groups? Nah, I'll skip that one. All right. And then I can generate my report. Okay. So from here, as a teacher, what I get is all of my students. I get to see all the tests that I chose. I get to see their raw scores. I can isolate or filter. I want to see all the students that got 0 to 5 maybe on this test and filter it. Okay. And then I can see how they did on subsequent tests. All right. So there are a lot of features with this particular report that allow you to compare growth over time, tests over time. The other piece is this is the average raw score showing in this chart. I can do it by students proficient. So I can see the number of students that were proficient. Up here, I have the performance comparison tab, but I can also look at my standards comparison, which is probably a little bit more helpful. So I can see on each standard, I think this was my 4.4. If I go down, let me open this up. You can open up the chart to the lowest level of standard and see, looks like the reading RI across the board. And you can see how my class, now remember, this is by class, how my class has performed on these standards over time with these tests. Okay. Any questions? That's a lot of information on the comparison report. And I want to dip back and see what I...
There's no questions in the chat, but I did just want to remind everyone on all these reports, you will see an option to either export it to a PDF or to Excel. So just know that on every report, there is a way to export that data.
Yes, let me just show that on. You can edit it. My students, I can select students for this comparison report and just have a few, and then here's your export, either Excel or CSV. Now, one thing we haven't said out loud, and I just want to be really clear on this. Everything I'm currently showing is the teacher's view of these reports. So remember, in the very beginning, I clicked this teacher's reading for dual language class, 1AE 40, and it's teacher 2443. So it's a limited data set. We are looking at 20 students here, okay? Just to be really clear with that. All right, where am I in this? I don't want to switch to leadership until I finish up
Let's see, looks like item response distribution.
Okay. Let me pick one test. One thing, a score report response distribution.
Mm-hmm.
And then I forgot to show the export on the other page, so I'll do that. Okay. Well, this is going to be fun for a minute. Of course it is. But what this will give you is it will go through each question and it will tell you what the correct score was, the percentage of students, and the actual number of students out of how many tested chose each answer choice. Now remember, this is for select questions. So this will work for multiple choice, checklist, inline, anything where the students are choosing answers, not open response. Okay. Let's see if that magically loaded. Yes, it did. And there's the screenshot. From here, you can look at the item, the standard, and then you can just click through to each item on the test from that particular screen. Okay. Oh, 407. Okay. Checking my time. Oh, previous years as a teacher. Of course, my screen is going to be fun. Okay. Back on this test summary screen, I just want to show you one quick export here. Besides exporting the whole report, you can export a student response report. You can choose what you want to see. This might be helpful if you are sending home something to parents to sign to say, hey, yes, this is how your child did on the test. But there are strips, depending on how many questions, student's name, their points, their percentage, their score group, each question, whether they got it right or not. Now, if the scheduling of the test allowed for seeing the correct answer after the fact, then that will display. If not, then it will just show the student's answer and whether or not it was correct or incorrect. And then these dotted lines are strips that can be cut, and then they can be sent home with students. Okay. Let me see.
Let's see, prior year.
Oh, prior year. Okay, is it going to let me do it in this one? Let me see, dashboard. Yes, it is. Okay. So whether I am, and this feature works for teachers or leadership, when I go to the reporting dashboard, before I choose a test, up here in the top right, and let me zoom in a little bit, there is a link. It should default to current enrollment. I can change it to past years, okay, or all students. When I change it to all students, it will pull in any students that took that test. If I pick a prior year, oops, nothing there for that year, sorry. Because the training site is so much fun to work on. Probably just stuck with the current year for enrollment.
But if you are in upper grades and teach different semesters and you need to access students' data from the previous semester, this is going to be the place where you want to make sure that you are changing that results reflect to the previous semester.
Thanks, Loretta. Thanks for commenting on the parent feature. Okay. Apologize, folks. I'm just getting over being a little sick, so my throat's dry. I did the comparison report. That one. These are all screenshots of all the different things that I had shown you in the comparison report. Okay. Oh, did I go through it all, Rebecca? I couldn't have gone through it all.
I did from the teacher view. Yeah, I know you said that you wanted to wait to
Yes,
show the leadership view,
I
so
do.
I think you
So
do
let
have.
me, yep, let me switch and log out.
Because I do know that we have a few leadership roles on the call today, because one person even asked about finding students. So thank you for switching over.
Yep. Okay. So now I'm a district leadership, but school leadership would pretty much look the same. The biggest home screen difference is rather than navigating my classroom, if you want to get to a student profile, you have a student search bar up here. You just start typing the student's name. When you find it, you click on the student and you're instantly in the profile. Now, the teacher, it opened into a new browser tab. For leadership, because I typed it here, it just opened in the profile. So the only way to get back home is to click my home button. But same thing, features are the same. For the student profile, enrollment data, individual, you still have the create PDF report for the individual students. For leadership, I would not navigate from the widgets. For reports, I would go directly to the reporting dashboard. So reporting, drop down, reporting dashboard. And from here, you can filter by either test category, subjects, grades for the data that you're looking for. So let's get that ELA back that I had a minute ago. And from here, you still have the option for, the comparison reports if you like. But what I want to show you, it's a bit different when we go to, let's do this test. When we go to these tabs, okay? So the summary is the same. However, when you scroll down, if you are district leadership, you are not going to see students right away. You are going to see schools. If you are a school leadership, you're not going to see students. You're going to see teachers. If district, you can click on a school. From a school, you can click on a teacher. From a teacher, you can drill down to a section. Okay. You can still get to the same view as a teacher. You just have to click into the report to drill down, because at the district level, you're seeing the entire district. And at the school level, you're seeing all of the teachers within a school. So I can also, let me drop back a little bit here. Let me go back to this. Sorry, I should have clicked a different way. That was my fault. I can, instead of looking at student views, why did it do that? Let me go back to the school view. Sorry. I can look at subgroups. I can look at the standards also. Okay. But remember, it's filtering whatever I have up here. So right now I'm in one particular school for this test. Now, it is pulling, I had this question from someone the other day. If you have district leadership and you drop into a school, it's going to change these percentages. So here's the district percentage, here's the school percentage, and here's the percentage for each teacher. Okay. No, district leadership has limited access to classroom tests. So you are not going to, if you have district leadership, you're not going to see my classroom tests in your dashboard. Okay, so let me go back to that person and click right here. And you'll note here that I don't get an option for my classroom tests. Okay, I don't even
They
get an
have,
option.
if they have school leadership, do they have access to it?
So if I drill into a school, oops, I picked the wrong school. No, it's still going to be, um, it's still going to be, my classroom tests are limited to teachers' reports. Okay. There's not if the teacher pushes out the test and schedules it to her class, that data lives with the students for the teacher's view.
So
Okay.
I would recommend if it's something that all of your third grade teachers are going to take, I would have it labeled as a school assessment, and you as leadership kind of deliver that out, so that all of the data is housed together.
Right.
Because if Catherine and I both teach third grade and we both assign that same test as my classroom assessments, then you're going to need to rely on her and I to come to the PLC with our data to be able to
Mhm.
deliver it. Whereas if it's a school assessment, you'll already have access to that. Um, just
Correct.
a recommendation. Because this kind of answers Madison's question. She was asking if there was a way to compare multiple teachers' assessment data simultaneously. Um, if there's a report that generates more than one teacher's data at a time, and the only way that, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but the only way that that would work is if all of the teachers were giving assessments together in one test. But if it was individual teachers, there would not be a way to click Catherine's test and my test and somebody else's test and run that together.
Yes. Correct.
And then
Um,
Madison was saying that, oh, yep, sorry.
no,
Speaking
no,
to
go
you.
ahead.
I just saw where she said that she can view individual teachers' data by
Yes.
using the filters and searches.
Right. But so to Rebecca's point, you could use those widgets on the home page and get there, but um, as a former administrator, that will be a lot of work, I think. I mean, I you would have to, I'm here, I'm going to pick a teacher. Um, from this teacher, I'm going to pick a class. I'm going to go to their reports or their assessments. But uh, to Rebecca's point, it's a lot of clicking. Um, uh, yeah, thank you, Madison. It is a lot of work to do it that way. The shortcut is exactly what Rebecca said. You either push the test out at the school level um, or the district level. And it could still be a teacher created test. If teachers work together, co-authored a test with an admin, and the only thing is that the admin scheduled the test as a school test, then you would get these reporting features that we're talking about now, if that makes sense.
And yes, Melissa, district leadership can see school label or school assessments. Yes.
Yes. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can get to anything. It's just a matter of how easy it's going to be to look at it. Yeah, I think it would be. So the only way I could simultaneously view and export teacher data would be to also schedule the test for the teachers, right? Someone with leadership schedule the test, yes.
If you wanted all the data in one place instead of having to export
Hmm.
5 different teachers data and click through and get to them all individually, and then you have 5 separate exports. If it's a school assessment, then you have all the students' data within one test, and can just view it all that way.
Mm.
So Valencia, that is a Power School rights. Depending on what your Power School rights are for Schoolnet determines whether your permissions are set at staff, leadership, or teacher. So I completely understand as an instructional facilitator why you would want to be able to have access to that. So I would just check with your Schoolnet admin if that's a roles change that could occur. Um, and yes, so yeah, data managers can do that. Your Schoolnet admin can do that for you. And it's just a PSU decision. So it's completely up to your PSU because some have different roles set for different. I completely said that wrong. They have different security permissions set for different roles within the PSU. So it just depends on your PSU and what their policies are. Sorry, Catherine.
No
Took
problem.
over there.
Nope. No, you're fine. Take over. So just working through the reports from the administrator or the leadership view, we talked about the test summary. The standards analysis is similar to what the teacher sees. The only difference is whether or not I'm seeing schools down here or teachers down here. Okay, but it's still breaking out all the standards from this particular test. And I'm still seeing the score for each one. Okay. The student analysis report is, give it a minute, but this is the only report that lists the students. The item analysis is the one that is drastically different. Okay, so remember I showed you the student analysis report from the teacher. It only had 20 students. So this particular one, I'm a district leader, 823 students took the test. So I'm going to see all 823 student scores in this particular test. Okay. The item analysis, when we saw it as a teacher, we saw the students' names on the left and we saw the percentage and how they scored, and we were able to sort it. What the item analysis does for leadership is it collects all the data from each individual student and provides the percentages for the performance on the question, the percentage of students that took each question or chose each answer choice. And of course, this is going to drag on. So I'm going to dip back here because I know I have this one in here. Didn't I? By the time I find it, the other page will load, right?
Mm-hmm.
Item analysis, where did I put it? Here it is. So in an item analysis report for leadership, it lists the questions. You can click on the questions and view the actual question itself. Let me see if I can get that to appear larger. It gives you the standard, the average score, the point value, then the answer choices, and the percentage of students that chose each question, and it highlights the correct answer. So the students are not listed in this item analysis report for leadership. Excuse me. And I want to make sure that that was clear, that that was a little bit different. Of course, now mine loads after I use the PowerPoint, so you can see it on the live site. And then the score report is the same. This standards by score, I don't like that one as much as the standard analysis because that's going to do the exact same thing, kind of similar to that item mastery. The other piece is that sorry, Rebecca mentioned before, every report is exportable. Okay. Sorry, had a brain freeze because someone popped up and emailed me right in the middle of that. I apologize.
You're good. I was in the chat contacting somebody myself, so I didn't want you to think that I was completely gone.
Nope. Okay. I think I have covered, 5 minutes. I did great.
Mm-hmm. I don't think that's ever happened.
No, never.
We always go over.
Any questions?
I think we were able
Comments?
to cover them all that were in the chat. I do want to tell you, do you mind if I take over
No,
here?
not at all.
Okay.
I'm stopping. Nope,
See.
that's not what I want to do. I want to stop sharing.
If you are on the call and you are leadership, wait, there we go. Oh, sorry, it was sharing from my other screen and I was like, wait, what happened? And you are leadership, I do want to let you know that at our upcoming Digital Leaders Exchange in December, that we are going to be discussing the standardized testing reports that are available to district leadership positions and how you can correlate that with benchmark data. So if you are interested in that, you can register for the December sessions that we are having here. So I just want to let our leadership that is on the call know that that is what we'll be discussing. So if you are interested in correlating those EOC data points to the benchmarks that you get in Schoolnet as well, we encourage you to come along with those. But Catherine, I'm going to let you man the chat while I go over our closing things. Let's see here. So again, we are thankful for you. We appreciate you being here with us. Do want to let you know that we do have Schoolnet resources at the end of our webinars for you. So we always have a link to our training site. This is our YouTube channel where we house all of these recordings of our webinars. We also have some self-paced courses through Nisus in Canvas for Schoolnet. It's like, how many platforms can we incorporate in one thing here? But those are available for CEU credit as well. And we also have tons of resources, whether they are quick reference documents or videos linked on our Schoolnet's homepage in Homebase's website. But one other thing to talk to you about is our webinar series. These are located on your splash page. I'm hoping that is where you found the registration for today's session. In December, we are talking about technology enhanced items. If you were with us last year, we did cover this topic twice last year. And we are going to do that again this year because there was such a request for this information. So we're going to not only show you how to find technology enhanced items in Schoolnet, because we do have a lot of those with our KDS bank that we have this year, but we're also going to show you how you can create or convert items that you have into technology enhanced items. So that will be a great session, and that's going to be on December 11th. So we hope to see you all there. But is there any questions in the chat? That is going to end our session today.